So this is Mac from 409 Geeks, and today I am joined by.
Heyo, it's H boy. What's up?
So this is gonna be a chill video talking about top five DBZ characters in all Dragon Ball. So we're looking at from Dragon Ball to Super and including GT. So to start off, honorable mentions, right? So you guest on today. So H boy, what is your honorable mention?
Well, my honorable mention for today's video, I would have to give it to Future Trunks because I just feel so bad for him, man. He went through a lot.
I mean, like because we're counting all of Future Trunks stuff, right? So this is including Super. You including the Super stuff, right?
Yes, I'm including the Super.
Yeah, he kind of did go through. I mean, unlike Goku and Vegeta, he did not fumble the fight against Mahajibu. He didn't fumble that fight, but yeah, he did go.
Yeah, he didn't have some cocky rival he had to deal with. But after that, this dude was chilling, and then some Goku-looking individual was like, yeah, no. Let's throw all that.
And then top that off, you also have the fact that, he know that he died in a different timeline because Cell took his time.
Yeah, he knows he died to Cell. Like
and
Cell is because of him. Like,
and then he died to Cell again after he killed Cell. Like Cell is like 2-1 against Trunks, which is kind of wild.
Like, it's messed up to think that this dude went back in time and he was like, yeah, I want to help them deal with these two androids, and that's it. That wasn't it, boy.
If anything, Bulma kind of fumbled not explaining time travel to Trunks.
It's not like she knew how it worked, though.
That's true. I mean, it's understandable why she's banned from making any more time machines, too, though. For that, kind of somewhat for that reason.
Yeah, the whole time ring thing is like, oh, we're supposed to only have 2 time rings, and then here's Universe 7 with like 5. It's like, what?
What? So my honorable mention is Omega Shenron.
Ooh.
Yeah, Omega Shenron. Solely just because, like, I would love to have the Black Star Dragon arc happen some point in the future in Super.
I feel like they would need to flesh the dragons out more or something.
They would have to be fleshed out more, but like, just the base premise of the idea of like, oh, these dragons are based off the different wishes they had, and this also affects their personalities. Just off of that premise alone, I feel like that was pretty cool. Definitely we should get different. Some of the dragons should be a little different though, but I did like the idea that they wasn't all just straightforward fighters. Like, oh yeah, this dragon.
Then maybe we can have more people help out besides just Goku and Pan.
Yeah, like, if they was to do it now, like Vegeta would be a factor earlier on. Goten and Trunks would be a factor as well, and especially if we're talking about with this being Super, it'd be fairly interesting, especially if they're all separating, because it'd be cool. Like, we have the OG Dragon Ball squad, and it's just minus Goku, but like Krillin, Tien, and like Yamcha, and they come across that like the Panty Wish dragon. Like, that would be cool, because it'd be like, oh yeah, I remember that. And it's like, now they got to sit here and fight this dragon, who is.
Oh my god! And if Oolong was there, he would hate Oolong. He would hate.
Oh, the despise of Oolong. They probably would come across this dragon just terrorizing an innocent village, and they're just like, yeah, any bald-headed people or any pig-looking guys, I immediately try to kill them. So, getting into the actual top 5, who do you have for number 5?
All right, so for my number 5, I have Oob.
Oob? The reincarnation of Boo. Ooh.
Yep, the reincarnation of Boo. Because here we are at the end of Z. Everything's about to wrap up, and then Goku's talking about this strong fighter I'm waiting to see. Like, who is it? And then there's just some scrawny kid that pulls up, and it's like, oh yeah, he's the reincarnation of Boo. He has a whole bunch of potential ahead of him. And then Goku's like, I'll train it out. We're going to train and get that potential up. And then GT happened, and he went to the wayside.
Yeah, all the way up until like I think Baby, and then he kind of played a role during the Baby saga.
Yeah, and then he got turned into candy because the beam got pushed back into him. Like,
which, to be fair, that's not really anything new. The beam getting flipped back on people is not really new to Dragon Ball at all. Because remember, that's how Fat Boo got beat by Skinny Boo. He flipped the beam on him.
Yeah, but it's like I'd be around looking at Dragon Ball stuff, and there's like fan images of like a next generation, where it's like Oob, Pan, Goten, and Trunks, and then like Bulla and Marin on support, and I'm like, that's it. That's the crew. That's the new crew. If we just moved off from Goku,
I think I
don't think we're going to do anytime soon.
I think the only thing that needs to be added in there, just because like of the mentor character that he definitely is, would be Piccolo.
Oh god!
Because like we already see it. Piccolo is going to be the person who's going to train Pan. It's not going to really be Gohan. So Piccolo's going to train Pan, right? And since he's already training Pan, he's probably going to stick around because Pan's the youngest one out of all. A little bit. Like, he's gonna hang around a little bit. Probably gonna give him like some helpful tips. But you know, Piccolo is Piccolo.
I mean, out of the fighters, yes, she's the youngest. Otherwise, that is Bulla.
So yeah, Piccolo probably would just hang around and just probably hop in when when it's a fight where it's like, oh shit, you know, this guy's an actual threat. He needs help. These people need help, you know?
Yeah, kind of like how he was in the superhero movie when Goku and Vegeta weren't showing up, and he was like, I probably could deal with this, but let me get Gohan, you know, to get off from studying and actually do something. So he'd probably be like that. Be like, I could step in now.
No, to
I
be
want
fair,
to see them handle
with Hero, you know, that is your daughter, Gohan. Like, you need to be the one to save your daughter, you know.
Well, yeah, but Piccolo's the reason she got kidnapped, though.
That's kind of true. That's kind of true.
Like, he could have prevented that, and he was like, "Oh, hold on, let me go with them." She was in on it.
But also, like, you know, Piccolo has good instincts, right? Piccolo has good instincts because the fact that if he didn't go with them, then like eventually Cell Max would have showed up at some point. Cell Max would have showed up, and it would have been an issue.
Yeah.
A lot of people probably would have died. A lot of innocent people because of a rampaging Cell Max. Now, granted, they wouldn't have died the same way they died to the, you know, OG Cell. But Cell Max was still an issue. Like, he's a giant kaiju.
Well, that's the interesting thing about Cell Max, because he wasn't really ready yet. They prematurely let him out. Like, who knows how much of a threat he would have been if they would have let that man cook.
Good instincts by Piccolo. All right. So you ready for my number 5? You ready? My number 5 is Broly. And I'm counting like both iterations of Broly. The movie.
I knew Broly would be here.
I mean, hey, so, you know, Broly, starting with movie Broly. Movie Broly is 100% just a meme, but it is such a solid meme. Like,
well, see, you say he's a meme, but like, there is some character to him. It's just that character is full demon level hater.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's the meme. Like,
this dude will beat the shit out of you and then tell you how he's gonna kill you while killing.
Like, this man's in his fights, right? First of all, he knows how to use a lariat. That movie Broly, will lariat the shit out of you. Like he probably could fit in with the Hidden Cloud Village. That man know how to do that lariat so well. It's kind of crazy because how you drag the first off, how do you're in a 4v1, you double lariat two people and you drag someone else through a building.
Dude walked through the Kamehameha. It was like that
we're
tickled.
not counting Bio Broly at all in this conversation because that's it's Broly, but
yeah. Hey man, I wasn't gonna bring him up.
Just to address that, right? Bio Broly's not in this console, but like Broly is, like you said, he is also a certified hater because like Goku's nowhere in the scene.
Look, it's like if you have any semblance of Goku in you, it's on sight.
Like
it's
if Gohan
on sight.
wasn't around, Goten would have died in the second movie. Being honest, like Broly would have murdered Goten just because of the fact he looks like Goku.
Nah, it's all right. It's a movie. He would have lived. That explains how Videl lived. It's a movie.
He would have got killed and revived.
I say this often. If it wasn't a movie, the moment he grabbed Videl and threw her, she would have broken apart like a Lego person. Like that.
I don't think we should downplay Videl like that. Like, you know, she can play it.
How do you downplay anything? That's downplaying Broly. What the?
Bro, like, it didn't add on. Like, Super Broly, you know, he kind of carried on the legacy of just, like, being a literal demon to some degree. But not... But,
like he has the power set, he has the build, but he's basically a different dude personality wise.
I mean, like, I would say the meekness carried over from the OG movie Broly's to like the now canon one.
Yeah, but like Broly was meek when he wasn't like in base form. The minute he started fighting, he was going to kill you.
I mean, if anything, to me, that kind of feels the same to some degree, but. You know, it is what it is to some degree. It is what it is, you know, because like, you know, Super Broly, once he's fighting, he's going. He's going, he's escalating, the power is growing, is maximizing, and then his daddy died. Which is, I feel like that's the biggest difference. Control of himself. I feel like that is the biggest difference between the Brolys, the relationship with their dad. One Broly didn't beyond not even caring about that man. One Broly just outright killed that man. The other Broly was sad about his dad's death.
That was his dad. He loved him. And it's like he didn't treat him well, but you know that was his dad.
In both cases, they had the shock collars basically on them. With the biggest difference being the fact that, like, you know, you add Frieza to the mix, some heinous stuff is gonna happen. Like, oh no, Broly, they killed your dad. And then he got the traditional wall pounding from Broly.
Oh my god,
bro!
Can I tell you that Frieza almost made it into my honorable mention only because I just love watching that man just get beat down so hard in Super. It's so funny.
He always deserves it.
That's why it's funny, because he deserves it.
Bro, you're just the worst. You're just the worst. What's number? He got for number 4 hurt before I just start thinking about Frieza.
All right. So this might come as a shock. My number 4 is Krillin. He is the de facto support character. Like,
I mean, Krillin's definitely a coach.
Like before Super happened and we're dealing with God and stuff, whenever something was going down, even if he didn't stand a chance in that fight, Krillin was there. He was there, you know, supporting, probably like throw a Senzu bean here and there.
I mean,
you know, he'll carry people off the battlefield. It's like
definitely that role. Krillin definitely is the de facto support for sure. Like that guy was goated for that. You know, and he always was strong. He always managed to stay just strong enough to hang around in all those situations.
Yeah, like there's a reason there's still debate on like who's the strongest human out of him and Tien. And Tien trains every day of his life. Like,
I mean, you know, Krillin gets in a different kind of train.
and let's not forget to mention, like in the beginning of Dragon Ball, he was he is Goku's homie. Like, you do something to Krillin,
I mean, that's
Goku
the
will
reason
go
Goku
off. Like,
even went Super Saiyan, right? That is his
Super Saiyan, yeah.
That's his best
Krillin
friend.
was the catalyst.
Like, even in the Cell Saga, you think about it, during the downtime, who was Goku hanging out with during his downtime? Was it Vegeta? No. Was it Tien or Yamcha? No.
No,
It was
he was
fucking
training his ass
Krillin.
off.
It was Krillin.
Yeah. Who does he take to go fishing or whatever? He takes his son and he takes his
Like,
best friend, Krillin.
That is the day one homie and one of the best support characters. You know, and if anything, Krillin
It's like, if you could have a friend like that, to where even if they're like a step below, or like they don't punch in the same way you do, but the fact they're gonna be there, you know, to help however they can,
Yeah.
that's the type of friend Krillin is.
All right, number 4 for me. This might be a surprise, but I'm not sure. Number 4 is Baby from GT. That's part of GT Baby.
GT. It's good thing we're
Yeah,
getting
I
some
feel like I
GT
might be
love in
having
here.
on the GT right now, but with my honorable mention being Shenron, and then my number 4 is Baby, and it's similar to Shenron, where I feel like a Baby arc would be like very interesting, because like, you know, the whole thing with Baby is all he needs is a cut, and as he's hopping around, he is getting stronger. Like, you might be able to get him out you the first time, but when he spins the block, you might not. You probably gonna be done. You probably gonna be done. And now, if I feel like if Baby was to show up in Super in this moment, it'll be actually crazy, because there are several people that he can hop around in, and he would almost immediately catch up with power scaling because of the tournament of power.
I don't want to imagine what would happen if he body hops and then he manages to cut a guard. Like, what is that interaction? Like,
I mean, assuming he's strong enough, right? Like, if he's body hopping, he gets to like the Gohan, Piccolo, or like Vegeta level, and he got inside. If he got to like a Vegeta level, and he gets inside of Beerus, we're fighting Baby Beerus. That's the final fight. It's Baby Beerus.
yeah, we're fighting Baby Beer. We're fighting a dude who can just sneeze a planet away.
This is part of why I like Baby, because like I feel like writing wise and narratively, Baby gives you a lot of potential, because it's literally a game of imposter, right? You don't know who's been touched by Baby until it's too late. Because that's one thing I felt like they did good with GT. He was very smart about how you target people. You know, he was like, if I'm going for a big fish, I am jumping them.
Yeah, like if he went in the Trunks forced him out. Okay, you're like, okay, I'm not that strong yet. I'll be back. I will get you.
Like,
he leaves. He gets on an airplane or whatever, a space plane, takes it to Earth. And I'm like, all right, time to start getting
hopping
people.
around in it.
Our heroes come back to Earth. It's gone. He is Earth.
Like, man, because if you like, granted, he's different from Cell in the sense of that he doesn't necessarily just get boosts from hopping from like equal individuals, and do have to be stronger people. But as long as the person is getting gradually stronger, you know, he's going to continue to get gradually stronger. Because even now, if I had to add Baby to Super right now, I would actually just start him in Universe 6.
Oh my god. He took over a universe,
so
guys.
Like, if it was, like, even if you did it on a smaller scale, like, he just start with the Saiyans in Universe 6, he will be, like, perfectly positioned. It'll be so interesting. because it's like, oh, it's a random. He just shows up, takes over a random Saiyan in 6, and now he's like hopping around. And we were just coming from the perspective of Universe 6 Saiyans at first, like Kaba, Kefla, and Khalifa. And they're trying to figure out, like, man, what's going on with these Saiyans? They're acting weird. And then they get jumped. They get jumped right before they have our inner universe training. And now we're seeing them again. And the last time we seen them was them getting jumped. We don't know what's going on, right? Like, they're acting like everything's normal. You think, like, oh, man, Baby took them over. And it's like, it's 2 out of 3 of them. One of them's missing. So you're like, oh, these 2 got taken over. But, like, what happened to the third one? Like, where's Kaba, right? It's Keldon, like, Khalifa. And then they end up jumping, like, Goten and Trunks or something. That would be, like, it would be so crazy. Because it would be too late, too. And with Angels being around, there's always that looming threat, like, you know, oh man, if he gets strong enough, he might be able to hop into an Angel. Probably won't be able to, but if he does, that's a wrap. The universe is done for. So, Baby's my number 4 for that reason, you know? Hello? Oh, there you go.
Yeah. All right.
So who you got?
So I guess it's time for me to move on to my number 3. My number 3, you know him, you love him, is Gohan, son of Goku.
I mean, that's a solid pick. I mean, I wouldn't think Future Trunks would have been on this list then if you're picking Gohan for 3. But
so people talk about in Dragon Ball Z had 2 very big character arcs. One of them was Vegeta, who was redefining what he fought for, and the other one was Gohan, who was figuring out what he fought for to begin with. Because here he was, he had to fight to protect the world, and he was like, and then it turns out he doesn't really like fighting though. He doesn't like fighting, but he forces himself to, and then he has to grow and grow until the Cell arc, where Andro 16 teaches him that he shouldn't be afraid to hold back his insane power. He should use it to protect what he loves, the planet. So now you have, grown up Gohan, grown man with a family, and he still doesn't like to fight. But when the chips are down and he needs to step up, he'll step up.
Yeah, I mean, the whole Gohan arc in regards to that, like, learning to not be a coward. If you really think about when we first meet Gohan, what he went through when he first shows up, it's very easy to, like, see where he's coming from or why he didn't want to be a fighter and why he's not a fighter, right? Because if you was a five-year-old, right? Because Gohan was 5 when we first meet him. You're a 5-year-old, and then your uncle kidnaps you. Then you help kill your uncle.
If your uncle kidnapped you, you are part in the hand of killing him, and your dad dies. Some random green dude kidnaps you, and like, we're training for a year. You can't go home.
While he's 5. Then.
Then, he's like, you know what? This green guy's not too bad. Then he meets this bald-headed Saiyan and this spiky-haired Saiyan. They freaking wash all of his dad's friends, and then the one friend he made, that green man, died protecting him. Like,
and then to add extra salt in his wound, then he goes to Namek, where his life is in constant danger.
They're like, all right, guys, let's go on this fun adventure to collect the Dragon Balls. Dragon Balls to save our friends. And then Prince was like,
his dad's best friend and his dad's other friend, which is Bulma. His dad's 2 friends, and it's him. And he was just 5. And he started off Z as 5. I think he's like 6 by now. He's 6 or 7, going to an alien planet at 6 or 7 after watching. Right, all these people die. Watch this man almost die too.
Yeah, but it's gonna be fine because Namek, we're just gonna go here and ask for the Dragon
It's
Balls. It's gonna
yeah.
be easy.
You not to add on though, like boy that like his dad almost died in the Vegeta fight.
Yeah, he had to step in to save his dad, and then he almost died. He had to bounce back a spirit bomb, and it didn't even work.
So and then now he's in Namek, and while on Namek, you see this horned devil alien, and he can sense ki, and he know that this little horned devil alien and this floating pod would immediately murder him. He hasn't seen it happen, but he know they would immediately murder him. And then to top it off, while they're looking for the Dragon Balls, they basically are witnessing the Namekian genocide that he's doing.
He watched firsthand as some big pink spike guy killed an old man and a child and was about to kill another one.
And then if he ran into Vegeta, which he did, you know what Vegeta did? Took out his frustration on losing out on him. The guy you barely survived the fight with, and now your dad's not around. It's you.
Yeah, you're all alone with this guy. And it's like, oh god, this can do anything. Punches him in the gut and leaves.
Best
Like,
outcome for sure. Because yeah, he
the
could have
best
just straight
outcome,
up
he could have just died.
you know. Again,
Vegeta was in a good mood. He thought he won.
This all factors into like, if you think about all this, it's very understandable why Gohan didn't want to be a fighter. It's so understandable. Like, there's a lot of
It wasn't fun for him. It was traumatic. It's something he had to do.
That man was a fighter because he had to step up, not because he wanted to. And then oh man, it's so tough. Because even sticking with Namek, he watches like his other best friend, his dad's best friend die, get exploded, right? After watching his like pseudo dad get shot up while fighting this like insurmountable foe. And you didn't even know if your dad was gonna win this fight either. Until he transformed. And then you thought your dad was dead at first. Only to find out his dad didn't even come back.
And then 3 years passed.
Oh man. Like Gohan for number 3, Gohan's character art. It was an interesting character arc. It definitely was an interesting character arc. Because man, if you really break it down, you should feel bad for Gohan. But at the end of the day, coming out of Cell Saga, going into Cell Saga, he ended up being the hero of Cell Saga. He doesn't get the glory, but he gets to live the life he wanted to live at the beginning of Blue Saga. He even became a superhero for fun. That's something he actually wanted to do. He gets his W when it's all said and done.
I think the difference between Gohan and Trunks in terms of why I feel bad for them is that Gohan, or at least this Gohan, future Gohan's a different story. Gohan, while things look bad, he always had someone else to turn to up until Cell Saga, where that was him. He had to do that. But like before that, it was always, I'll fight you until my dad gets here. I'll fight you till my dad gets here. I'll fight you until Piccolo gets here, and then my dad gets here. No, it was him during against Cell. He had to do that.
Which, when you think about it too, Gohan is somewhat part of the reason why Goku ended up dying. Because he was playing around with his food.
Yeah.
Trauma, it builds character. And in Gohan's case, it built a lot of character that led to him working a 9 to 5.
Yeah, man, he's a family man now.
He's not.
And when he has to step up to make sure his family's safe, he'll step up.
All right, so my number 3. Your number 3 was Gohan. Mr. Certified office worker built off of trauma. My number 3 is similar to your number 4. because it's Krillin. My number three is Krillin.
Oh my god, we had both Krillin. Oh,
And my biggest thing of why I pick Krillin though is like you took the support angle. My thing was about like off of Dragon Ball, you know, because when we actually first are introduced to Krillin, it's way back in Dragon Ball, and he's part of the original squad. And if you think about it, Krillin was really Goku's first rival, right?
yeah, he was Goku's first rival.
Even when he started getting pushed to the sidelines, like you were saying, like he was still able to stick around. He was still like solid support for the squad. Like he always held it down. Not to mention, you know, in regards to romance, he's one of the lucky few that was able to have like a love interest and it makes sense to some degree. You know, we don't always get that out of our 2000s writers. Looking at Naruto, you know, the story with him at 18 built off of sacrifice. You know, it's nice. It's nice, and you know, I think it would be interesting with if they ever did do the next generation, having Marin in that next generation, and seeing what she can do as being like just a normal human, basically, as on that squad of quarter and half Saiyans. You know, so Krillin though, again, it's mostly just go back to Dragon Ball, like one of Goku's first rivals. He was I felt like he was a really good foil to how Goku was in Dragon Ball, you know, because Goku
was strong and naive. Krillin was not as strong,
yeah, like,
but
Krillin
he was street smart.
Cunning, right? Like if you think about his Chaozu fight, he outsmarted Chaozu.
The training arc with Goku, where they had to collect the stone. You know, he was like, I'm not gonna go into this forest to collect stone. I'm going to write on this other stone the insignia and then turn it in. It didn't work because Master Roshi could tell that wasn't his handwriting. But then when Goku found the stone, he threw the fake stone he made to make Goku go after that one and come back with the real stone. So he beat Goku by outsmarting him.
Even though he was weaker than Goku, he definitely wasn't like that much weaker. Because like you think about that, speaking on that Roshi training arc, right? He was right there, like right behind Goku the entire. Like
yeah, he was like right behind.
The gap doesn't even show up until Kami made that difference. And if you can imagine, like if Krillin was there when Goku was training on Kami's lookout, the gap probably wouldn't have showed up until like Z. You know, like if Krillin would have trained,
yeah. And let's be honest. Like we got to be honest. While there was a gap when he was fighting, you know, R Piccolo Jr. in the tournament, you know, he was putting up his own. Like he knew the stakes and he tried his best, and he made Piccolo put in a little bit of work before he tapped out.
On top of the fact that like Krillin died in Dragon Ball.
Yeah, he was the first main character death if we don't count Upa's dad.
I mean, it counts, but like it didn't count. It doesn't weigh as much.
He was the main character.
I feel like it doesn't weigh as much with what was going on, because like it wasn't even Demon King Piccolo himself that killed Krillin. It was his minion. And
yeah, it's like, and it was like what I was saying when I got to Krillin. You kill Krillin, Goku's gonna go off. Goku went off on that thing. He lost, but that's how mad he was. He was willing to go and fight that thing immediately.
Like on site, lost. It was on site with Demon King Piccolo. And then Demon King Piccolo put him through a rock. Like, you know, everyone was telling Goku, "You're not strong enough for this to fight him." And I mean, he still went. He still tried to fight him on site for his best friend. And then
yeah, and as far as everyone else knew, because you know, besides Yajirobe, everyone thought Goku died. Like they thought he went off and died. It was like, it's up to us now. Goku died.
So Krillin, number 3. Krillin's my number 3. He was your number 4, and he's 18 number 1. So who do you have for number 2?
All right, number 2 is going to be a real shock. My number 2 is the GOAT, Goku.
Well, all right, I'll just talk about Goku, and he shows up. Well, Goku at number 2 is interesting. Why is he your number 2?
Well, I can't tell you that without going into number 1, but I can say that we followed Goku through, him meeting Bulma in the beginning, seeing this young, curious boy, not sure of the world, get stronger, meet new friends, just have a fun adventure through the world, collect the Dragon Balls for the first time, and you're just like, he was rarely bored. He had a fun adventure throughout all of it. He meets some bad people with the Red Ribbon Army. He realizes some people are just straight up bad. You got to get rid of them. We watched him destroy an entire army. That was
such a
that was something.
When they made that when he was like a child, he destroyed an entire army. Is this for real? Yes, it is.
Like, I was rewatching back on that arc. It was funny. The gang find out, oh, he went to the Red Ribbon Army base alone. We gotta go back him up. Everybody suit up. We gotta go get there. By the time they get there, Goku leaving. It's like, oh yeah, I beat him.
He was like basically on a rampage though. But yeah, Goku solo an entire army. An army that was strong enough to beat Pilaf, who was the one of the first big bads of all of Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, I was rewatching that too. That was like a scene straight out of Star Wars, but like in space.
They have this massive, basically Death Star, and the Red Ribbon's like, okay, just
a bunch of fighter jets blew it up. Like, let's see. So he goes through that. He goes through another training arc. He meets up with Tien. He loses to Tien, loses in quotes, because he was gonna win that fight.
I don't know. Tien had a deeper bag at the time than Goku did. Goku didn't have his bag like that.
So then it's all fun and game. I'll just win next year, and then he just, oh, I forgot my stuff. And then Krillin's like, oh, I'll go get your stuff. And then Krillin dies. Goku goes on a revenge arc. He almost dies. He faces off against Piccolo again in a rematch. He wins. Years pass. He fights. Piccolo Jr. He goes through all this sudden adventures. Then Z happens. He has a son. Finds out he's an alien. Goes on even more adventures. Dies again. Boo Saga. It's like we've shown this man go through so much. It's weird to think that he's only my number 2.
Goku, the story is about him. And when it wasn't about him, it's about his legacy when looking at Gohan. So, Goku making it on their top 5 list is not too surprising. But
I get it. I get that some people might be like, we've been talking about next generation. They were tossing it up, teasing it during the Cell saga. They were talking about it during the Buu saga, and then Super comes out and it's like, this is still about Goku and Vegeta and friends. And I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. But I don't mind. I like Goku.
I mean, he's a character, I like his friends. Easy to endear to, right? He's fun-loving. Because of a bridge now, though, he is viewed more as a bad dad and idiot, even though he's kind of not in actuality. I
love Abridged, but I will never say that it should replace the actual material. Let's not. It's called a bridge for a reason. It's supposed to be a joke. It's fun.
It is a joke.
It's funny.
You do have to realize that Goku is actually smart. Like, a bridge even did acknowledge the fact that when it comes to fighting, especially though, Goku is actually a genius. He is a genius.
He's a battle genius. Yeah.
And they acknowledge that. But even outside of fighting, Goku is smart. He's Turtle School approved, at least elementary level education.
Like, they might have dumbed him down a little bit in Super, but I think that was just to play off the comedy side of it a little bit. So I can look past that. But at the end of the day, Goku is a battle genius. It would take a battle genius to hire a hitman on themselves and die, but throw a ki blast in the air to bring themselves back to life.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Like, that's an actual work of genius there. Like, the fact that, which moment do I even want to pick? The fact that he was able to adjust whenever he came across an opponent that was like faster than him, right? Like his fight against Frieza, for example, right? And that was his first time on the fly actually fighting against someone shorter than him and faster than him, right? Because most of Dragon Ball, his opponents was always bigger than him. All of Dragon Ball.
Yeah, but he wasn't a little kid no more.
He grew up. You gotta think about it too. Even when he was an adult, besides the Vegeta fight, and Vegeta wasn't even necessarily faster than him, just shorter than him. Like, you think about it, Nappa, bigger than him, slower than him. Raditz was also like equal height and slower than him. So like the first time he didn't have the speed advantage, and it was one of his hardest fights up to that point, up until he unlocked Super Saiyan, he was able to stick in the ring. Like, he was able to stay in that fight for the most part, right? While losing his traditional advantage. Which like goes a long way of showing like, yeah, Goku's a really talented fighter, as far as like thinking on the fly. Alright, so my number 2. Your number 2 is Goku. My number 2 killed your number 2, by the way. My number 2 is Cell.
Ooh, Cell.
And Cell, I love Cell just because of like, I feel like he's the perfect accumulation of representing what should have been like. It was what was originally planned to be the end of the series. I feel like he was a good ending point for Dragon Ball Z.
There was definitely a lot of different endpoints, but yeah, he was supposed to be an endpoint.
Frieza was the endpoint, Cell was the second endpoint, right? And I feel like Cell was a solid endpoint,
It's like what I had said when we were talking about like Goku, and like that's where they were setting up. Goku was dead, Gohan's the next generation. That's what they set up. And then Busai like, nope, Goku's back. He wasn't back at first. He was just chilling, but then like, okay, I gotta step in. They can't handle it.
Because if we're putting this in the context, right, for Cell. So first of all, if we're just looking at why Cell was made because Kid Goku destroyed the Red Ribbon Army, right? Destroyed them. Wasn't even planning on using the Dragon Balls, right? He destroyed them. Part in the fact because they was actually bad guys, right? They were just being.
And he needed the Dragon Ball to bring.
But I mean, when he first started looking at the Dragon Balls and encountered the Red Ribbon Army, then he didn't even have that purpose. He was just looking for them at first, and then people.
He was looking for the 4-star. If he would have found the 4-star first, he would have never even messed with the Red Ribbon Army. He would have just
came knocking at his door. But
and then they would have got destroyed.
But the Red Ribbon Army destroyed, right? People who survived, Dr. Gero, saw this happen, and he basically swears revenge on Goku. And this is revenge ever happening in the background. So everything that happens after that point In the background is Dr. Gero studying, analyzing,
Yep, he's recording all of it.
all the way up to Namek. That dude was keeping track of everything. And even then, like, if I remember right, as soon as they get back to Earth, like with Frieza, they gathered that information as well. You know, when Frieza showed up on Earth.
Well, I don't think he put that in. I think he just put that in Cell.
Yeah, like when Frieza showed up to Earth, he was able to get his data and get that to Cell as well. So like anything that happened on Earth up until like Cell shows up, Gero was recording it, plotting for the Day of Revenge. And for all intents and purposes, if Trunks didn't show up, he probably would have got his revenge on Goku. Granted, it would have been circumstantial because, you know, heart disease, but he probably would have got his revenge all the same. Like, he would have probably killed Goku without using Cell.
Well, yeah, because if Trunks' future's indication, Goku died from heart virus, and then the others can't stand to the androids at all. And then,
you know, and that's Trunks' timeline. So if we just factor in the fact you had 19 and Gero there initially, and they didn't have the prior warning about training, like Vegeta probably wouldn't have been there. They would have most likely found Goku.
Gero would have actually made it out good, actually, because assuming that he washed all the Z Warriors, he wouldn't have even activated Android 18 and 17. He never would have.
Yeah, like
he would have just killed all the world.
That'd been the end of it. Like that, it'd been a wrap. What's done is done. So that's just the Gero side of things, right? He just applied, and then when things did go sideways, he always had the plan B, and that plan B was Cell, right? Which is the accumulation of everything that had happened in Dragon Ball Z up until that point. Not to mention, I feel like he added in a nice little extra element to the story around like the whole like manhunting they had to do for him because of the fact that, like, you know, he's just running around wiping out the population of Earth.
Yeah, it's like if Baby was trying to find the imposter, you know, then Cell was like trying to find like let's see, I'm pretty sure there's a game like it. Oh, I guess a Predator. He was literally going around murking entire cities. We can't find him, but we know he's been here. He's hiding his energy.
Like, Cell was just perfect for that in the early forms, right? Because when he does make his move, you know, when he makes his move, similar to I Love Baby, when they make their move, they make it in the best way possible. Like when Cell was ready to pop up on Piccolo and the android, he was ready. That boy don't beat the black and white. He beat the color out of Piccolo. Like what?
Yep, and the only reason Piccolo didn't die at that point is because backup was coming. So it was like, oh, forget this solar flare, I'm out. That
like man. Oh, I wasn't even talking about that moment. I was talking about when he pulled up and he like in the part.
Oh, the rematch. Oh yeah, he put
Piccolo like, so hard that the color left the screen. But that is a good point too.
Like you can feel for Piccolo at that point. He was like he was fighting off Android 17, you know, buying Goku and the others more time, and it was like, look, there's this giant bug man who's coming to get you guys, and he's here. So now he's all tired. He's weaker than Cell now. It's like
there's so many things about the Cell saga if you think about it. Like if people just made one small change, that would change a lot of it. But the reason these changes didn't happen because of who they was as characters, you know. It's because of who they were.
Because who they were. Because had this happened differently, had Goku and Vegeta be different characters, and Trunks showed up from the future and told him about Dr. Zero, they would have found Dr. Zero at that moment, murked him, and that was it. Like, it wouldn't have been a saga. It would have been an
Or if
episode.
17 and 18 would have listened to Piccolo, like actually took him at face value, you know, hey, Cell probably wouldn't have got found him. They probably would have been able to off Cell before he got to the androids, or they would have killed the androids before Cell showed up, you know? That would have been another thing. If Vegeta,
If Krillin wouldn't have been caught up in his feelings and blew up Android
Vegeta
18,
wasn't Vegeta, Cell would have got his final form. There's so many things about that saga, and that's why.
if Trunks wouldn't have been worried about his dad's pride,
this is why I love Cell. Just because it's like, because Cell definitely was an instigator too. Thinking about it, like when we're talking about these events, Cell played a role in why these events play out the way they did in his favor. You know.
yeah, he knew Vegeta to a T. So he was he played
that man like a piano. He played that man like a fiddle, right? He played him perfectly.
Perfectly.
Like, and then to top it off, he also knew, right, off rip, Trunks was no match for him. He wasn't even worried about Trunks because he knew, and the bridge did this well, right? Trunks' weakness was he didn't have experience. Like, yeah, you killed.
The moment that Cell became perfect, it's like it doesn't matter what that other form is. It's too slow, and you're too unexperienced to know that.
Like it did not.
Like, you really think that Vegeta didn't get that form too? Of course he had it. He didn't use it because he realized it was slow and stupid.
Like, man, it was all downhill. You know, it was all downhill. The moment Cell pulled up on Piccolo and Ice Piccolo, it was all downhill from there. You know, it's hard to say. It's hard to say it was inevitable, but it kind of was inevitable. You know, there's too many things that have been laid out throughout the arc that guaranteed Cell was going to become who he was. Cell did reach his final form, and I love this that Cell decided to do this. He knew he was top dog on that planet, and all he really wanted to do at that point, he just wanted to get his fight in. And he did it.
Yeah, that's saying in
the best possible way. He gave us our Dragon Ball Z tournament.
Tournament in quotes. It was just everyone versus him, and then by everyone it was Goku.
Yeah, it was Goku
and then Gohan.
But it was the closest we had to a tournament in Dragon Ball Z. It was officially sanctioned game, announced on live TV. Anyone could show up, challenge Cell, while he was just actually waiting for the real challenges. And that was the Cell games, you know. And
and then we got introduced to the actual GOAT, Hercule.
I was gonna say,
I'm just kidding. But
you're number one. This would be a good time to mention it, because you know, Cell at number 2. It was just so good narratively for what Cell was and what he did. You know, it was awesome, and Abridged helped a lot. I will say Abridged played a role in why Cell was number 2, because that's easily my favorite Abridged arc, the Cell saga. Like, they was really in their bag when they was writing the comedy for it. But I also felt like a lot of that comedy just naturally came from how that arc was written. You know.
Well, that's just because they had years and years to build up on it. It's like you go back to some of their earlier stuff, some of their jokes haven't really aged well, or they're kind of gone stale. You know, they had years to work on the Cell saga, so they went all in on that.
All right, so let's get into our number 1. Who's your number?
I'll be honest. I feel like you should go with your number 1.
So my number 1 is the Prince of all Saiyans, Vegeta.
Oh, now I see. Now I see what you were talking about earlier.
No, Vegeta is my number 1. because at the end of the day, at the end of the day, when he goes to bed at night, what he goes to bed at night proud of? His Saiyan pride. And as much of a fault it was definitely a definitive theme for Vegeta. Like, that man stood on his Saiyan pride till he died. And even when he came back to life, he stood on that Saiyan pride until he got beaten up again.
Yeah, I went over it with Gohan, that Vegeta was like the other major character arc of the show. Because you had where Gohan was trying to figure out what he was fighting for. You had Vegeta here, who he fought for his pride. But what his pride was, what it represented, changed over time. Before it was pride in his race, pride in his people, who are all gone at this point, pride in his crown, but now it's pride in his family, pride in his planet, pride in his own strength of who he is. The crown not that important to him anymore.
I mean, yeah.
Like, he'll still say the Prince of All Saiyans, but that's just his title. That's not who he is anymore. He's Vegeta.
Like, Saiyan pride ain't no joke. Like, if we're just to go off for Super, for example, right? When Beerus shows up and he slapped his woman, and Vegeta touched that inner strength that we just ain't know that he had, he touched that inner strength.
Yeah, that's pride right in his family, right there.
Like, that pride is so clutch, and it's such a key integral part of Vegeta. Not to mention, like, one thing that I didn't mention was Cell theme and Vegeta theme. To me, easily the two best themes in Dragon Ball Z. Easily for me, right? Cell's theme go hard, Vegeta theme go hard. Yeah, I'm still there.
Are you still there? Okay, you just cut off for me.
Well,
okay,
you're still here. Vegeta theme, easily the two best themes for me, by far. Like, those themes go so hard. You start hearing them, you're in for a good fight. Even though Vegeta never gets his W, never really gets his W. Not never. We can't dislook, the facts. When he fought with Goku for the first time, he only lost because people came and helped. When he fought Goku, during the Buu saga, while yes, Goku was stronger than him, Goku held back and he knocked Goku out. So technically, he won that. The third time in the superhero movie, they fist fought and Vegeta won that straight out. Like, he gets dubs, but I mean, like,
they're few and far between.
He's technically the one that killed the Ginyu Force, right? Like, starting off at Namek, Vegeta had a lot of W's in Namek at the beginning of Namek. Like you're saying, if Gohan wasn't the one to fight Deborah, Vegeta would have got the W on Deborah too. I mean, two different fights he had a W in for Majin Buu Saga. I can't remember the name of these characters, but he had two other dubs that happened during that time period. I mean, he has the W on Android 19. Like, Vegeta gets solid dubs. Like, when he gets his W, it is a solidified W for the most part, right? Like, that man...
Yes, he smears his pride, his cockiness all over, and he declasses you like that.
Like, it's really, and you really seen it in Cell too. Like, that Vegeta was showing out of Cell for real when he get his W's. when that man beat Vegeta, it was literally just Vegeta beating Vegeta.
Yeah, for his W's, he's got to pay for them in some pretty bad L's. Like Cell and Frieza take the crown because they shut Vegeta down. Like, he was done. He's like shattered his pride into pieces Frieza made that man cry. It's like Jiren made that man cry.
That's Jiren though. Like, you know, Jiren's just different. Bro, Jiren was like basically a force of nature. But Vegeta versus Toppo though, that was the fight. You know, I felt like that was the fight that was like, all right, this is Vegeta time to shine. You know, Vegeta versus Jiren. I ain't gonna cap. I had no faith in Vegeta for that. As much as I hate to say it, like I knew they wasn't gonna give him the W. I would love to see it, but I knew the writers in that room was not gonna give that man a W like that. He was.
Hey man, you took out the God of Destruction in training. This is what you get. This is what you get, Vegeta. This is it.
But that's a good W. That's a solid W, all things considered.
Yeah. Like he kept getting up though. You know, he didn't have any energy to transform anymore. He got punched in the face and his eyes swelled up. He was still going, and, you know, but he ran out of energy. And then he gave what the fragments he had left to Goku. Like. And the reason he did that is once again pride for his family. Like he was like, "Well, look, if we don't win this tournament, you know, we're gonna lose our universe. So here you go, Kakarot. You got to take the rest of this injury. You got to get this dub.
We don't win. We all
I'm
die."
done.
Which, just on a side note about that tournament, you know, everybody was mad at Goku, but the alternative was you didn't even have a fighting chance. Like, y'all really should have been thanking that man, because if he did not sell the Xenos on the idea of a tournament, they would have just wiped out universes, and y'all didn't know what happened. They was going to get rid of him anyway. So really, he just gave y'all a fighting chance, which played in y'all favor because MVP 17 was like, I wish for all the universes back. So, H-Boy, who was your number one?
All right. So, my number one is incredibly biased here. My number one, and you may have noticed a pattern with my number three and number two. My number one is Goten.
All right, finishing off the Goku's family, but it's definitely the one that has the least amount of
the Goku family
writing. I feel like I'm curious on why he's what.
Yeah, I mean, Goten is Trunks' sidekick. He's Trunks' best friend. That's his character. He's Trunks' best friend. He's Goku's second son. He's like nearly the spitting image of Goku when he was a kid. You know, the interesting dynamic of that when Goku was a kid, he was living out in the boonies. You know, didn't even know what a woman was when he was a little kid. When Gohan was a little kid, he got kidnapped and was traumatized. Goten, as a little kid, not counting the boo stuff, kind of, you know, lived a normal life, you know. He trained with his mom a little bit, unlocked Super Saiyan really early for some reason, started training with his brother, learned how to fly. You know, he's just a different take of what if Goku had a kind of normal upbringing at this point. And I just think that's really neat because there's potential there. Again, going back to the new generation idea. Like, I know by the time Z ends, he's not really all that interested in fighting and stuff. But I'm sure, like Gohan, if things came to it,
so here's the question,
he'd step up.
Do you buy into the idea of Goten, like the GT idea of Goten being a ladies man, or just like you're like, nah, I want Goten to go a different direction?
Well, knowing from what I know from the Super manga, it's a possibility. That's all I'm going to say. It's a possibility. Apparently, like, the girls around school do like Trunks, at least. Which, that might be just because he's rich. I don't know. But, you know, that's the Goten, you know, hangs out. He had a date to the dance. Who, that day wanted to go with Trunks, but that's not the That's not the point. The point is, he has some reach.
He does have a chance. Hopefully he finds the right one. But he has a chance. I mean,
But
it definitely fits with the what you
yeah, he's
has to come up with the whole idea of the next generation with Goten though. Like, you know, with him being
yeah, like there was a scene in Dragon Ball Super, like I forget what arc it was starting with, but Goku was going to go back and train with Whis, and Goten was like, "Don't you need to like give them something before you can go there? Don't you gotta like give them a treat?" And it's like, "You're right. I don't really know what to get. Well, how about you go get them this?" And Goten was like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. And then you can come with me." And it's like, "What? What do you mean Goten could just come with you?" So Goten was all out, you know, got the stuff for Whis and them, and then Bulma met him halfway, and it was like, "This is where your journey ends, young man. Your mom called. You can't go up there and train with them." And then Trunks was like, "What you doing anyway? You should come train with me. We should go train." And then we never see them train. And I was like, I would have seen that. I would have been down to see that for like a cutaway or something, just seeing them train. Or like during the Tournament of Power, where they were with Goten and Trunks, but not with Goten, where Goten and Trunks were taking care of Android 17's island. I wanted to see that. I want to see what the
apparently they
next
had a
generation
manga
is
panel
capable of.
about that though. Of they was fighting some Cell Juniors that was stuck there. That 17 knew about but forgot to mention.
Yeah.
So that is something we know about what they was had going on. Not a lot, but it's definitely something.
But yeah, while he might not be that good, like whenever Goten is playable in some Dragon Ball game, I always play him just because he's my favorite character. I want to see what they can do with him.
I mean, hey, I can't fault it. So that is our top 5. So just real quick, my top 5, just to real quick list them off. So number 5 for me was Broly, 4 is Baby, 3rd was Krillin, 2nd was Cell, and number 1 was Vegeta. Honorable mention goes to Omega Shenron.
Yeah, my honorable mention was Future Trunks. Then I had number 5 Oob, number 4 Krillin, and then number 1 through 3 was the Sun family. You know, Gohan, Goku, and Goten. Sorry, Chi-Chi, you didn't get mentioned.
I mean, I guess he would have been number 5, maybe, if you did.
I mean, not number 5. He would have been in the honorable mention. But I guess it would be funny. He's number 5. The rest of the family 1, 2, and 3, and then in the middle is Krillin.
So, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. This is Max from 49 Geeks with H-Boy, and signing off. Sayonara.
Peace.